Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company. We face a number of important issues around privacy, safety, and democracy, and you will rightfully have some hard questions for me to answer. Before I talk about the steps we're taking to address them, I want to talk about how we got here. Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company. For most of our existence, we focused on all the good that connecting people can bring. As Facebook has grown, people everywhere have gotten a powerful new tool to stay connected to the people they love, make their voices heard, and build communities and businesses. Just recently, we've seen the Me Too movement and the March for Our Lives organized, at least in part, on Facebook. After Hurricane Harvey, people raised more than $20 million for relief, and more than 70 million small businesses now use Facebook to grow and create jobs. Over the past few weeks, we've been working to understand exactly what happened with Cambridge Analytica and taking steps to make sure this doesn't happen again. In 2013, a Cambridge University researcher named Alexander Kogan created a personality quiz app. It was installed by around 300,000 people who agreed to share some of their Facebook information, as well as some information from their friends whose privacy settings allowed it. Given the way our platform worked at the time, this meant Kogan was able to access information about tens of millions of their friends. In 2015, we learned from journalists at The Guardian that Kogan had shared data from his app with Cambridge Analytica. It is against our policies for developers to share data without people's consent. So we immediately banned Kogan's app from our platform and demanded that Kogan and other entities he gave the data to, including Cambridge Analytica, formally certify that they had deleted all improperly acquired data, which they ultimately did not do. They did do it. They didn't. But it's clear now we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. That goes for fake news, foreign interference in elections, and hate speech, as well as developers and data privacy. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. It was my mistake, and I'm sorry. I started Facebook. I run it, and I am responsible for what happens here. Facebook's mission is about giving people a voice and bringing people closer together. Those are deeply democratic values, and we're proud of them. I don't want anyone to use our tools to undermine democracy. That's not what we stand for. We were too slow to spot and respond to Russian interference, and we're working hard to get better. Our sophistication in handling these threats is growing and improving quickly. We will continue working with the government to understand the full extent of Russian interference. Elections have always been especially sensitive times for our security teams, and the 2016 U.S. presidential election was no exception. Our security team has been aware of traditional Russian cyber threats like hacking and malware for years. Leading up to Election Day in November 2016, we detected and dealt with several threats with ties to Russia. After the election, we continued to investigate and learn more about these new threats. What we found was that bad actors had used coordinated networks of fake accounts to interfere in the election, promoting or attacking specific candidates and causes, creating distrust in political institutions, or simply spreading confusion. Some of these bad actors also used our ads tools. We also learned about a disinformation campaign run by the Internet Research Agency, IRA, a Russian agency that has repeatedly acted deceptively and tried to manipulate people in the US, Europe, and Russia. There's no question that we should have spotted Russian interference earlier, and we're working hard to make sure it doesn't happen again. Our actions include significantly increasing our investment in security. We now have about 15,000 people working on security and content review. We'll have more than 20,000 by the end of this year. It's not enough just to connect people. We have to make sure those connections are positive. It's not enough just to give people a voice. We have to make sure people aren't using it to hurt people or spread misinformation. It's not enough to give people control of their information. We have to make sure developers they've given it to are protecting it too. Across the board, we have a responsibility to not just build tools, but to make sure those tools are used for good.